Hello, welcome back. This is going to be pseudo day 3 of the crossbow stuff that I was doing. Last two build diaries were going over kind of like initial thoughts of using Permafrost rounds and then Fragmentation rounds and then trying to figure out what else to do, if anything else. That was day 1. Day 2, still using Permafrost and Frag rounds, but trying to figure out a way to do single target. Experimented with a Glacial Bolt. There's a support gem for Impale. It didn't really seem that great. Maybe I was using the wrong support gems. But either way, I kind of knew that there was going to be setup involved to basically prime a boss to just mag dump in with Fragmentation rounds. Because even though the frost consumption is only once, if the pellets can merge, then it actually does pretty good damage. So what I landed with in the last vid, so that was yesterday, using Armour Piercing Rounds and High Velocity Rounds. And then just for a quick recap for people who don't know, High Velocity Rounds was changed. So in point 1 and point 2, or POE 2, it used to consume broken armor in full. So the gameplay loop back then was to build up your fully broken armor, and then you'd shoot high velocity rounds to try to do as much damage as possible. It was changed to now it doesn't consume fully broken armor. It applies this Riven Armour debuff. Riven Armour just states that it stores 5% of the pre-mitigation damage against the target as Fizz. It'll apply it as magnitude. It doesn't have a total consume amount. So you basically have this 5-second window to take advantage of the Riven Armour, which is a long time on bosses, it feels like. At least for now. I haven't really changed much with support gems. I ended up putting this projectile acceleration 3 back on. Even if this whole projectile speed not applying to damage for abilities doesn't work, I hope it does. And I really can't tell a difference between this and another support gem. The projectile speed definitely does help doing map-wide clear, as I'm using Permafrost bolts as like my main map clearing ability, along with Ricochet 3, which allows it to pierce all targets, because normal pierce has a fixed amount of targets it can pierce through. And it can get kind of weird fighting Abyss, so that's kind of nice. I'm still kind of playing piano with all of the different gem colors because of a node on the tree right here, where if you have at least 10 of a color, you get a stat. At least I have the max life and the movement speed. The mana, if I do have it, I haven't really bothered to look. It's nice, it helps, but it's not the main point of this node for me. So main gameplay loop still is, I've been changing it up because I feel like Armour Piercing Rounds first on a boss to build up the fully broken armor, and then go into Permafrost bolts, freeze the boss. Usually I do freezing mark. Maybe if I forget, I'll just do Permafrost until it's frozen. Once it's frozen, then I switch to high velocity rounds, apply the Riven Armour, so that when I start to unload Fragmentation rounds into the target, I'm going to consume the freeze, It has fully broken armor. It has the Riven Armour. And it also will have... where is it? This. For Shard Scavenger. So for a total of basically 4 seconds, I can just left click with Frag Rounds and not have to worry about reloading. And that seems to be able to kill anything. For some bosses, if they have like really low HP for just mapping for now, I maybe get at least through 2 seconds. Still working up through the Atlas. I'm kind of just going wherever right now because I'm trying to get levels mostly. Eventually I'll start to work my way over to the bigger guys. Armor. I want to go over armor first. So I haven't changed my weapon yet. I feel like this is more than enough for now. Probably like end game goal is to just get a beast of a weapon. I haven't really changed much in terms of this stuff. I did upgrade my amulet. I bought this with max life, fire, and cold res. This fire and chaos res, I mentioned it in the last build diary, but if you use these like Omen of the Liege, Omen of whatever, there's 2 other variants. Pretty much every single time when I go to desecrate an item, this modifier for fire and chaos res is basically there. But it'll change depending on which one you use. So Liege is the fire, there's one for cold, and then there's one for lightning. So these very underrated for getting resistances, especially chaos res. Because getting chaos res on gear is expensive. So there's one big addition that I added, which is this. On the surface, it doesn't look like much. You get life, all attributes. But there's a video that I saw by Palsteron, because he was doing some grenade build with Merc. And he was mentioning this part right here. So require 5 to 2 fewer enemies to be surrounded, or like to be considered surrounded. I bought this for 67 exalts, where it was a 2 rolled. But I had, I think, 2 divines on hand, and I slammed 1 divine on here, and it happened to roll up to 5. It can go up to 6, but it's not really gonna do anything. I think if you corrupt this, you're hoping for like an extra socket, or you're hoping for some other implicit. Because at least once you get to 5 for the roll here, you're always considered surrounded. And it just so happens that in this area for the mercenary, there are 2 areas that you can pick up for surrounded stuff. And these modifiers are really fucking good. They're really good because they're conditional, right? So you have to be surrounded in order to gain the benefit of this stuff. I'm pretty sure this is more tailored towards like melee. So whenever I think the duelist comes, he's probably going to have some gladiator ascendancy, or, you know, he's going to be more melee focused. So you can actually take advantage of this stuff. But we have like 30% increased armor, which, by the way, there's a mod over here. 15%. So it's basically double that of just a traditional node while you travel. But that's like for everything. So 25% increased attack damage. You just get straight up 20% attack speed, which is massive. Because just to show you, to get more attack speed, like at least for where I'm pathing right now, there's 3% here. This is conditional. I have to kill something, not really great on a boss. I have to path over here. You get the idea. Like, I'd have to go super out of my way and spend a lot of points to even come close to this. So this is huge. And you have other nodes, at least in this cluster, for evasion rating. There's life regen, so 2.5. And I do have here vitality 2. So I'm getting 4.5% life regen. And I ended up picking up this node here and this node for life regen rate, which definitely helps. And just a side note, I went to the right here just for the curse effect, extra pseudo defense, right? Or at least not having to worry about enfeeble or temp chains making you run really slow. But a lot of enemies are considered undead. And if you have this node, I think it allows you to properly see what affiliation a mob is. So it will show like humanoid, it'll show undead, demon, that sort of thing. There's this for surrounded area effect, which is where I'm assuming this is more for like the duelist when he comes out. But at least for now, this exists in the game. Take full advantage of it. So I'm going to be basically picking up everything around this ring and this. And then the second thing is over here. So I path down. Even more attack damage. So in here alone is 75% attack damage. In here, it's 100% increased attack damage. The less accuracy does kind of mean that I have to figure out what to do. And I believe I'm probably going to pick up the accuracy spirit reservation thing. I'll have to look. I would rather take the sacrifice of losing 1% life per second if it means I don't have to spend points on the tree to get accuracy rating, even though I'm basically right next to this. But this is huge. This is like 175% increased attack damage. Pretty good. There's also this, so you get increased movement speed and your dodge roll goes further. Pretty helpful. And then there's this. The block chance doesn't do anything for me because I'm using a crossbow. Deflection rating, so just additional stuff. Defense, right? And then ailment and stun threshold. So that's kind of sick. And there's even more like armor and evasion while surrounded, which this is 20% and these are 12, but you know, per point, this is like so much more efficient than any of this stuff. So to make all this work, I took points out of here where I was going with like more evasion, and then I took points out of this stuff for effective broken armor. Depending on the accuracy rating thing, I might go up here. I might go here if I feel like I'm dying a lot more. Then I might go back down here to pick up these. But besides that, nothing else changed on the tree. I am still considering this 10% damage, more damage against demons, even more damage against demons, and then just the cluster of quality of life against other creatures. Because as I'm going around killing stuff, I'm paying attention to the tag for all the mobs, and it more times than not is undead or a demon. So outside of that, I guess future plans is what I mentioned. Basically this, I'm right next to a dual socket node now, so I can just easily pick this up. But yeah, I think eventually I'll probably swap over to like a full evasion chest piece once I pick up this to just kind of offset the fact that I don't have armor on my chest piece anymore. And then eventually I'll go to pick up Sorcery Ward. I still really love Zealous Inquisition. It feels really great clearing maps. And speaking of maps, let's just do a little quick one. This has a little bit of everything. For the most part, I don't feel like I need to do my rotation at all to kill stuff. I feel like it kills stuff just fine. Just by doing Permafrost bolts.
This'll stop him. Easy.
I thought that guy got killed so fast he was T-posing. But as you can see, damage is definitely there. And there's probably even more optimization I can do with gear later on too. So it's not even like I'm at my limit, which is kind of cool. But some of the gear, like the helmet in particular, is going to be the most expensive part, especially with scaling damage. Other than trying to get a better weapon.
Local. Come.
That looks good.
This'll stop him. Stay quick on my feet.
I'll just try to find the boss, because otherwise this video would be super long.
All in a day's work.
I don't know if you can tell, but the dodge roll length is pretty noticeable with how far I dodge roll. I feel like some of the pinnacle bosses require you to move pretty fast, so combination of movement speed and being able to dodge roll further is kind of cool. And also because of that one node, I was able to actually bring my movement speed up to 41%. So definitely a feels good moment. There's even more movement speed if I feel so inclined. That I picked up earlier, but I took out because I didn't really need it. So for a boss, again, I'm going to start with Armour Piercing, then I'm going to go into Permafrost to freeze it, High Velocity to then apply Riven, and then just blast the Frag. Freeze, Riven, set. So, pretty good. This is definitely shaping up to be way more fun than the minion build that I was doing, and of course there were changes to the Flesh Piercer Spectre, so it doesn't give the haste aura inherently anymore, which is kind of stinky. I almost feel inclined, because I was playing with it earlier before I started playing on this guy, feel inclined to get movement speed boots and just forego Bones of War. And then try to figure out how to get more damage, because it feels real shit moving super slow after playing this guy. Like, it's night and day difference. I think I might actually have 5% movement speed on that summoner. But yep, that's currently where I'm at with this on day 3. Still way more upgrades to go. Not even at pinnacle bosses yet. I'm not even fully kitted out with level of gems yet. So, you know. Actually, real quick, I can even show you how much damage this thing gives. Basically double on most of the important stuff, which is kind of like this. Pretty cool stuff. Basically get like 10,000 damage, at least tooltip value. Obviously it's not correct, but now I feel like I should get rid of this bleed and try to figure out what else I saw in here. And then to even show like defense, and it's not as noticeable, but work in progress. All right, cool. Thanks for watching. Might be back tomorrow with an update, but I feel like I'd want to progress the pinnacles at this point with my gear setup, that I would want to probably give that for a spin and then upload a video rather than another slight incremental upgrade video on just random bullshit that I get. So, see ya.